Hello viewers! Today I have something unique and special for you. I'm going to show you my latest project, which even surprised me. And when a project surprises its creator, it must be intriguing. I've developed an autonomous AI agent working in SAP, but without further ado, I'll jump straight into the demonstration, and I'll talk about the project's premises and results at the end. I'll share more about what surprised me the most. I've launched my agent, and now it's waiting for a command. The first prompt will be special. I'll ask it to check a dedicated program where I share information about our video. The AI agent is simply tasked with greeting the viewers and explaining what we'll be focusing on today. I clearly specify what the agent needs to do, which transaction to use and which program to execute. Obviously, this is a custom report created specifically for this video to give an initial demonstration of what we're dealing with. Later, I'll also show more complex and standard scenarios. I'll also try to make the next prompts much simpler. However, it's always worth testing the agent's understanding with various types of queries. Okay, the agent navigated to transaction SA38. Running the Z intro report is also not an issue. The window moved to the foreground. That's how I know the agent is taking a screenshot to analyze the content. In this case, it's my message about the plans for today's episode. After completing the task, the SAP agent logged out of the system. And on the screen, we see a greeting for the viewers, along with a summary of today's plan. Notice that the agent made a mistake in the name of the large language model. But that's quite common with various prompts. The letter O from Omni often gets omitted in the name. Other than that, the greeting looks pretty good. Now let's move on to something more serious. I will ask something from the life of an SAP Basis Administrator. Logon groups are rather basic configuration, but I won't hint that they can be checked in SMLG transaction. Let's see if it uses its own knowledge. Yes, it immediately went to SMLG. Keep in mind that I'm not speeding up the video when the agent performs its actions. This is happening in real time. You can believe me, no cinema magic applied. The agent logs out, which means it has completed its task. Yes, the response is fully correct. The system has two Logon groups defined, and both have a green status. You've probably noticed that the formatting of the response isn't perfect. Please forgive me. This is just a prototype, the first version which I wanted to showcase as quickly as possible. Let's move on to the next task. I'm asking about runtime errors, commonly known as dumps. This is also a standard task for a basis administrator. Notice how quickly it navigates to ST22 transaction. It has already clicked the Today button and navigated to the appropriate list. Now, it's preparing a screenshot to analyze it. The screenshot process always takes the most time, but it involves more operations and data. The data from the list has been gathered and presented. This is a small and quiet sandbox, so normally there wouldn't be any dumps here. That's why I generated a program with a deliberate error in the code. There's a faulty check against division by 0. Let me launch the AI agent once more. I want to ask it to inspect the code of this program and identify the error. After all, the tasks of an automatic SAP consultant don't have to be limited to the basis area. It has knowledge of various modules, and it handles code analysis very well. Once again, the initial transaction navigation was lightning fast. The program name was also correctly entered into the text field. This is a good sign. However, it seems something isn't quite right for the agent, as it decided to take a screenshot at this point. Nevertheless, the code was displayed without any issues. The error is located right below the comment, check for division by 0. It should be 0 instead of 7. Now my SAP agent is taking another screenshot. At least I hope so, because this is needed for the analysis. As I mentioned, I'm not speeding anything up, so we'll have to wait. And this is finished. We have the analysis. Let's take a look from the beginning. First, we have the current code. The formatting would be much better and more readable if I were displaying it on a website. But the most important thing is the content. Yes, the analysis is completely accurate, The error was correctly identified and fixed. Then we have again the full code with corrected value. Perfect. At the end, there is a summary to the fix. I know it's a simple program, and we've already tested LLMs in this area, but this is a different situation. Isn't this impressive? Then what is? Let's try a more complex navigation task. I'll ask for the SNC string of a user in my system. Let's see how that goes. Once again, the switch to the transaction was quick. The username was entered into the correct field. But there's a problem. The agent tried to navigate to a tab that doesn't exist, a hallucination. The program must be prepared for such scenarios. The agent seems a bit confused, as it's taking a screenshot to reassess the situation. However, it did manage to access the user data display. From my experience, sometimes it finds its way in such situations, and sometimes it doesn't. I can see it successfully switched to the correct tab as well. The data I requested is on this screen. I expect it to take a screenshot, analyze it, and then complete the task. Let's wait a moment. And there you have it, a completely accurate response. Now I'll check if the AI agent can say something about my system. My sandbox runs on a mini PC, which I showcased in one of my recent videos. I'm asking the SAP agent about the hardware resources. By the way, if you're curious about how to set up a sandbox like this at a low cost, check out the video on my channel. And we're already in the correct transaction. Now it just needs to take a screenshot and analyze it. I have to say, my SAP AI agent is very efficient. Sometimes it seems slow, but it gets to work immediately. And there it is, the response. It took only about 15 seconds. Alright, that was simple, but what if I asked my AI agent to input data instead of just reading it? Let's see if it can handle creating a user. Here, I need to point out that I have to be very specific. Otherwise, the SAP agent gets a bit lost. But in reality, I only need 3 pieces of information that are mandatory. Transaction SU01. So everything looks good. It effortlessly navigated to creating a user with the correct identifier. It entered the data and moved to the Logon data tab. Now the agent just needs to enter the password twice. And that's it. It takes a moment, but the result is what matters. And there you go. We've got a summary of the completed task. Simple and clear. I'm actually a bit surprised, so I'll check to make sure the user was indeed created. I intended to use this task to demonstrate that issues sometimes occur. Yes, the user exists. Everything is fine. Notice that during this task, the AI agent didn't even use the screenshot function, which of course doesn't mean it did everything without checking statuses. Alright, that's probably enough for this initial presentation. Now a few words about the project, the technology, and what surprised me during its creation. Let's start with the technology. The SAP AI agent was developed using the LangGraph library, a fairly popular choice for these types of applications. The brain behind the operations is GPT-4 Omni. Besides screenshots, SAP scripting is also used. This allows the agent to navigate through the interface effectively. Obviously, I see this as a proof of concept rather than a finished product. The agent currently supports basic elements like buttons, text fields, and tabs. That's why the examples I've demonstrated are limited to these elements. However, this is just an initial version, with plenty of room for expansion and improvements. And now, what surprised me? When I started this project, I was convinced that I would need to put a lot of effort into crafting the right prompts and building a knowledge base on how to navigate the SAP graphical interface. However, it turned out to be the exact opposite. I prepared the tools, the initial prompt, and it just worked together seamlessly. I didn't have to teach the AI agent how to use the system. It already knew. It's like sitting someone in front of a computer who has extensive knowledge, probably even knows most of the transactions by heart, but has never used SAP before, and then telling them, "Make me a report." That's right. The AI agent sat down in front of SAP and started clicking. A strange experience. That's it for this initial presentation. Maybe I'll show more in the future if anyone is interested. I'm curious to hear what you think about it. Be sure to let me know in the comments. If the audience enjoys this topic, I'll continue exploring it. So consider leaving a like and subscribing. May your human expertise always be highly valued. See you next time.